The house felt too still, the kind of stillness that speaks of secrets instead of comfort. I came home from the office the night of the party and noticed the living room light was off. Her scent was gone from the air. At first, I convinced myself she had simply fallen asleep upstairs after a long evening. By morning, the silence had teeth. Her side of the bed was empty. The coffee cup in the sink had gone cold. Outside, the city carried on as if nothing had been broken within these walls. My name is Mark, and that silence taught me more than any argument ever could. She was gone. At first, it was subtle. A missing jacket, the absence of her familiar laugh, a text left unanswered. I called her phone until voicemail swallowed my questions. I drove to the office she'd mentioned, wandered through halls where colleagues pretended not to notice, listening to small talk that said everything and nothing. Someone mentioned a party in a tone that implied gossip. Another said they saw her leave with two people, light-hearted, careless. Every word landed like ice on skin. We weren't perfect, but the cracks had been quiet, steady, missed dinners, late texts, apologies that sounded rehearsed. We'd built a life that suggested permanence, though permanence is just a story we agree to tell each other. The party was supposed to be a brief distraction, just another evening stitched into the pattern of our normal. Instead, it tore a hole in the fabric of everything. When I found her phone at home, dark with notifications, a single message made my chest tighten. See you soon. Beneath it, laughter and plans I had no part in. I sank to the kitchen floor and realized that anger came in waves. Beneath the initial spike, though, there was something cooler, a ledger of facts, what was said and what had been left unsaid. She hadn't been swept away by chance. She had cleared the room deliberately. There was a temptation to chase her, call, plead, stitch the night back into what it had been. But years of caution with my heart suggested otherwise. This moment was too raw for theatrics. The next morning, I acted quietly, deliberately, setting the tone for everything that followed. The air was sharp as I walked into the cafe where we had first met, the place she loved for its anonymity and the sunlight that danced across the tables. I ordered a coffee I knew she disliked and sat with my back to the door, letting the rhythm of the world continue while I measured my next moves. No rush. Anger is loud. Quiet observation carries a weight fury cannot match. I watched the door, imagining her face the night before, bright, careless, believing she had gotten away with it. People always underestimate the calm. Memories surfaced with startling clarity. How she twisted a strand of hair when nervous. The subtle brow lift when hiding amusement. The tiny gestures that revealed impatience when things didn't go her way. Each detail returned, not in anger, but as precision, a desire to make her absence meaningful, to show that actions without consequence only exist until someone pays attention. By midday, I had aligned the pieces. Not revenge in a cinematic sense, no shouting or confrontation, but a quiet unraveling. Messages sent at measured intervals. Innocuous questions, posed casually. The world reflecting back what she had traded without yelling. The tension of her oversight, of thinking morning would pass like any other, became enough. I didn't watch her reaction directly. That would have spoiled the effect. Time itself would deliver the lesson. By evening, the city hummed with ordinary life. I passed streets she might have taken, windows that glimmered with routines untouched by her absence. The goal was never direct confrontation. It was letting her choices echo naturally, letting reality fill the gap she believed she controlled. She had imagined power, leaving as though the world would bend around her whims. She hadn't accounted for someone who measured consequences quietly before moving. Returning home, the apartment felt emptier than ever. Yet in that emptiness there was clarity. Left behind items, a jacket, a mug, a notebook, were no longer mundane, but reminders of decisions made. Each one told a story, reinforced the weight of absence as much as presence. By letting her leave without protest, I created a mirror for her to see the shape of her choices. The next morning, I saw that she had reached out, not angry, not explanatory, but tentative, trying to reclaim control of what had already slipped. Her messages were careful, polite, but trembled with realization. She was beginning to understand. There was nothing left for me to give. No performance, no plea, no negotiation. My silence had set the stage. Life moved forward with measured steps. Work, errands, small consistencies reaffirming stability. Time passed. The lesson had landed. She carried the weight of her choices quietly, the erosion of certainty she once relied upon. There was no triumph, no cruelty, only understanding. People often learn the hardest truths when left alone to confront them. The party, the absence, the morning after, enough to make her regret. And in that quiet reflection, I found the closure words could never provide. If you want, I can also make a punchier, YouTube-style script version that keeps all the drama and tension, but is written for maximum viral engagement.